Welcome to your full body stretch out. Get your little ball, start your little bounce, belly to spine. Think about lengthening through the neck, shoulders down. Engage a little bit of an abdominal draw in, and how vigorously you bounce is really it's a you thing. You don't have to bounce at all, right? We are going to go into circles as well, but I do consider the little bounce that we often start with and the circles that we're going to do next. This it allows us to take whatever 30 seconds to a minute, right? And kind of just make the body go, oh, okay, class is starting, and it's not starting aggressively. It's nice and easy, but it I hope helps you connect yourself to your discipline, right? All right, take the bounce out of the equation. And now I want you to make really small circles, and we're going to go from really small circles to as big of a circle as you can get. All right. We're only going to be on the ball for a minute or two, right? So let's just maximize our time here. When you come into the forward aspect of the circle, you should feel like your body is in a curved position. And then as the hips drive the ball back, you go into your S. So intentionally setting C and S, right? When you go into the C curve, allow your chin to come forward so that you feel like, okay, abs are working, but no back strain, right? And now do one more this direction, and then we're going to rewind it. Push it around the other way. Because I opted to not put my mat down, I'm having to really root my feet when the ball is in that forward glide, right? Which is making me feel like I'm pushing firmly into the floor to keep my feet from sliding out from under me. So if you are in a similar situation, you should feel like your feet are really having to help stabilize you, which isn't a bad thing, because if I can bring your attention to, even if your feet aren't in like an aggressive push down, when you come into the forward push of the ball, take your hands like, so your spine is rounded, and with your feet pushing down, you should feel like your hamstrings are doing a little bit of work. So I don't know if you can feel the difference in the muscle in the back of the leg. Sometimes I like for you to use the fingers to feel, right? Because that helps bring our mind to what it is that's being active. Active abs, active hamstrings. And isn't that pretty amazing how we can have two different parts of our body going into a synergistic contraction in order to create stabilization? That just always impresses me. All right, here we go. 3 more. 3, 2, and relax. And just like that, you're done with your ball for now. So let's get our mat. We'll put our mat down and get our body on it. And we are going to start on hands and knees. I'm going to take you guys through a series of movements that are just, I would say, my top 5 to 10 things that I do every single time. And even if you don't have a foam roller, if you have a cushion, right? So let me just show you. This would be the preferred shape of the cushion, something oblong, but a square will work just fine. I'm thinking in terms of getting to a point where if you had any knee discomfort, we might need a prop. Whew. All right, so just to get all of your stuff handy, like I got cushions, foam roller, towel. Where are we going with this? I said we were starting on hands and knees. But guess what? If you're working on a really hard surface, you're gonna need extra knee support. So don't feel like you can't, even while we're doing it, make adjustments just by taking your mat, giving it an extra little roll, I know it seems like I spend a lot of time and maybe what might seem like too much time breaking things down, but if I don't do it and give you the allowance to take the time to do it for yourself, you might endure through something in the wrong way. So take your hands, shoulders, elbow, right? Wrist alignment, glide the shoulders out of the ears. I want you into cat back stretch, tuck your chin. When you tuck your chin, you're using your hand, I hope, to push firmly into the floor and then maintain the firm hand pressure as you slide the spine, shoulders out of the ears, right? The spine dips, and then gently your head is going to pull up like you're staring, looking, trying to look towards the ceiling. Let the chin relax, the neck goes to neutral, start curling the chin to chest, take the belly, suck the navel up into the spine, push into the hand firmly, keep pulling the hips through and gliding the chin towards the chest. Slowly release the movement, and it's not just releasing through the lumbar, it's making sure that your shoulders retract and depress and your head gently rocks up. This is really uncomfortable for a lot of people, the head rock. Now, do it again. I want you to keep going, okay? Because I got to make a little adjustment with the blind over here. Every year, right, as the sun starts coming up and being at different angles, I forget that this window on the far side of me puts off a little bit of a glare. So here we go. Got two more. All right. We haven't even addressed what the tops of your feet should be doing, right? So as you're pushing into the hands, trying to get your chin to your chest and the arms straight and the tailbone pulled up and through, the tops of the feet, try to press them down into the floor and connect them. And now as you slide down into the sway back, shoulders glide away from the ears, right? Push. And for me, like, sometimes my hands are a little bit too far forward, right? You just have to look down, raise the chin up. This is your last one. Here we go. Relaxing the spine, pulling the chin to chest, eyes are open. Take your feet. If you're, as you're looking down, right? So we've got the head curled, chin to chest. Can you look through your legs and see what your feet are actually doing? What direction are they resting? Are the ankles turned out so the toes are flaring into each other or externally flaring? Like there is just this constant, I call it scanning. You want to constantly be scanning as many parts as you can go, oh, okay, my knees are like, my angle. I know I'm keeping you here for just a little bit because this is what we're talking about. The angle of the foot in relation to your knee becomes very telling. So now that your head is down and you're tracking your gaze to your thighs and then the space between your knees and then the space between your shins and then looking at your feet, try to wiggle the feet around until you see the alignment of the heel to the toes to the knee become a little bit more, we'll say true, right? And now that you draw those ankles into a straighter line than they were, push the tops of the feet down and then continue to execute against into the hands, chin to chest, eyes open, and keep the pressure in the legs as now the spine shifts positions, shoulders away from the ears, the dip through the lumbar, and then the elongated neck with the jawline pulling up, eyes uplifting towards the ceiling. And now relax. Come out of that, circling the wrists. All right, open your mat up. So the kneeling position, right? Can be a little strenuous. Loaded on the wrists can be a little strenuous. So we're just going to go, okay, work it out. And now something I want you to think about. How much base, okay? How much of a support base? So I'm going to do a couple of versions of this to accommodate what everybody, the gadgets they have. This foam roller is such a versatile accessory. All right. So now we're starting to think about, how tight are our knees? Right. So if we put the foam roller down and you're like, I can't sit down comfortably because the tops of my feet, my extensors are tight, my hips are tight, my knees are tight, then you just keep building your base up, right? You put that foam roller between the legs and you just give yourself as much of a stack as you need to. And now I'll do the profile, right? This to me, though it is one of the most challenging positions for, I would say, all of my clients, regardless of the age. So look what I've got. I've got my foam roller supporting me, two massive pillows that are just giving me really gentle and sufficient support so that this is an effortless body position to get into where I am now, right? You're like, but I don't have a foam roller. Guess what? Take one of your pillows. That's why the shape, right? If you've got a big square one, use it like it's your foam roller, right? Grab another big giant pillow. I would rather you go, this is way too easy than way too hard. For my own personal journey through working through knee tightness, I am finding that it's not exactly the knee that's the problem. It's that, so femur, okay, and the tibula, bone, femur bone, the tibula, okay? Those two bones often, because of tight muscles, start getting misaligned, which then puts crimps on the inside and the outside of the knee based on which direction the femur is rotated in relation to the tibia. I know it's like a lot. However, this movement for me, whenever I feel my knee resistant to something, I realize it's driven by tight muscles. I've already started the next thing. Whether you're on your foam roller or on pillows, you should be able to, even if it's 4 pillows that you put under you, so you're really high, taking the pressure off of a part that feels sensitive. If you sit too low too soon, your body puts in this reflex, the Golgi tendon reflex, which then causes you to brace. So I need you high enough that you can roll a little bit because there's this alignment thing. All right. And the alignment is your toes should be tracking straight back. You should not be seated on your heels with the heels rolling out. This is crazy, right? So now I've just taken the pillows out from under me because we're going to explore this for another few seconds. So now, say you're in a traditional yoga class, all right, and you're going into this resting posture because, believe it or not, this is actually supposed to be a resting posture. The goal is to get your knees together and your feet far enough apart with bracing until you figure this out for yourself. And if you're able to turn your head and look at your foot, your toes will tell you a lot about why you may be having knee pain. If your foot is doing anything other than resting in its aligned, flat position where there's an even amount of pressure across the entire top of your foot, not just one part of your foot, then it supports the act, that thought, that alignment of the tibia to the femur are off. It's not something that is easily corrected, but getting into the position, aligning your toes, I'm able to take each toe and straighten it and give it a little tug so that the top of my foot does the right thing. A few more seconds, right? So if you're still in a really comfortable place on your pillows, then just enjoy the stretch, right? The the further you can get your shoulders from the knees, the better. So if you're on your pillows, see if you can put your hands back and open yourself back. If you've opted to take your pillows out of the equation, look, with my hands supported, intentionally, I'm going to raise a knee because I'm trying to elongate that tibia aspect, the muscle. I'm trying to let that muscle get back to its natural length. All right, so here we go. A few more seconds. 5, 4, 3. And now my butt is completely on the floor. Release and relax. You're done with this one. That would not have happened. I would not have been able to immediately just go from a standing state to a kneeling state to my butt on the floor. Like, my body has to be eased into that one because of how tight we are through the quad and the alignment thing. So now bring your legs out from under you, give them a little shaky shake, okay? Because regardless of how much support you had, whether you were on your foam roller, 4 pillows, I don't know, I hope we're at a level where you felt comfortable, but yet you felt like you were still treating yourself a little bit. Okay, here we go. So you're just giving a little shaky shake. We're letting everything kind of hit the reset button. And I do this without even realizing that I'm doing it, but I just caught myself, which is why I'm bringing this to your attention. So I do this with my hands a lot. It's the gliding, right? A little sensation. It's like I find that my position of about what I think our hands are able to do. Relax the legs now. You're going to glide and pull back. All right. So the hands just get to slide up and down the legs. There's no right or wrong. There's no wrong if you're not going all the way to your toes. It's wherever your body can forward hinge to while you're staying as relaxed as you can. Okay. And I want to plant the seed. And the seed is that your hands have healing power. Imagine that. So you can choose to believe that or not. What do you have to lose? Right? What do you have to lose with thinking that your hands have healing power? So now take your hands to your knees, and as the hand strokes down the thigh, give the heel of the hand enough pressure down the thigh, and then let the hand kind of grab the knee and then squeeze and release. Push down and like get your body working with a little bit of a rhythm here. All right. So even if your hands are arthritic, right, we can go like, oh, nothing actually feels good. Find a way to go, okay, I'm going to use my fingers. It might not look exactly like mine. Do about 4 more. Slide down the thighs with gentle pressure. Your body's in a forward flex. Get to your kneecaps and then squeeze them and release. Get down there, push them in, squeeze them. Do 1 more. Push down, squeeze. Now fold one leg in. Take the other leg into a back bend. with a fist. My sessions with you all, they're fluid. And what I mean by that is I don't have a script that I'm going from. My body and the time that I spend on the mat dictates to me what we're doing that day. And this is something that I hope feels good to you. So with the fist, you're kind of going to be using the pinky edge side of your hand. Okay. I want you to take your hand and just come down the thigh, come down the outer portion of your calf. And, you might lessen the tap as you go towards the ankle and then the foot and come back up. And if it's part of this anterior tib, right? The side of that shin. If your shin feels anything like mine does, at about midway down the shin, it might be a little more sensitive than any place else, okay? So I want you to now with a little bit faster speed. And if you don't want to use the pinky edge, there's no wrong part of your hand. You can go to knuckles, right? Go around the outside of that knee, right? Is it sensitive there? When I get to my tibia, right? I'm going to pound a little bit harder and then lessen up a little bit around the ankle. Faster. All right, here's the fun part. Pause. Hand number 2. Okay, so now you're going to take your other leg. Now, what if sitting like here is really not working for you? Prop yourself up. You got to find a way to offload the hip, even if it means this. I don't know, right? If it means this, if the straight leg is where you're going with it, be okay with that. And just know that now you're going to try to get both hands working on the legs. There's no wrong to this, right? It could be the syncopated rhythm here where it's not unison, right? What feels doable and soothing to you? You're only going to do this for another minute, all right? Go to the speed that works for you. Some of your parts will be a little bit more sensitive than others. I know it's crazy. This whole little patty cake thing here is helping stimulate your body on so many levels. Now relax. Relax the hands, unfold the legs. If you're still on your pillow, stay on it. Personally, I don't know how I forgot to put us on a pillow. Go back to center leg shake. We're going to have plenty of time. I'm considering all of this like the prep work for the real stuff. Are you ready? Fold the legs the other way. Now, if you don't know the best way to leverage yourself, all right, is you really only need the heavy, how do I say this? The heavy sit side propped, right? So I've got way too much pillow under my other side, which is casting me even further away. So I'm going to pull the pillow so that only the heavy butt side sit is supported, and that opens the rest of it up. That does not mean that you're going to be super comfortable, because you may need 2 pillows. You have to be able to run your own experiment to go, oh, the higher you build your hip base to the right level, you will then have your vertical line. So if your body is still listing heavy and you have one bun that is heavily seated, you haven't given yourself enough propping. That's all I can say. And then in the prop position, if that knee doesn't like the internal, right, open it out. You may have to close it a little bit because you're going to take your hand and you're going to work yourself into the forward tap. With the leg straight, you're not going to get so far, right? But you're still top of thigh, side of thigh, down the outside of the knee, along the outer edge of that anterior tib. And now, because I don't need my leg straight, I'm going to rebend it. Whatever speed, however you want your hand to hit, whatever feels the best for you. So many of my clients have these, they're Theraguns, right? So it's this battery charged thing that essentially is this like piston, right? And you hold this, what looks like a handheld device for doing carpentry work, right? It's like a hammer, right? But this piston at a really, really rapid speed, that's what it is. It's pounding and helping to stimulate and just move the fluid through the body and break the fascia the tight aspects of the little adhesions along the muscle line. So that's all we're doing. The hand is just gentler. Now, can you get both sides going? What does your foot feel like? What is that space down there by your toe? How does that feel as it rests on the floor, right? Are the parts already a little cockeyed? Okay, here we go. You're administering it. So if it's too intense, slow yourself down. If the pounding, the little beating, maybe you've got fibromyalgia, right? I mean, with fibromyalgia and some of these autoimmune things that kick off in the body, you can be hypersensitive. So maybe your treatment is more of this gentle gliding instead of this. If it does not feel soothing to you, then stop, right? We got about 60 more seconds here. And my left, like, it's not the main part of the quad. It's this upper out high edge of it, yet that's not hip flexor. Man, does that feel sensitive is the wrong word. It's very receptive. So I've taken now both hands to this side for a reason, because my body is saying, do more right there. Okay, do about 10 more strokes. Where on your body is it saying, oh, do more right there? And release. Relax the shoulders, right? Bring the legs out in front of you. I'm going to just glide right off my pillows because we're moving into the next thing. All right, little shoulder circles here. We are going to go back to a kneeling position. So I hope you're okay with that. We're going to practice thoracic spine rotation. All right. And we're kind of prepping our body. So thoracic spine rotation is like this move. Okay. So now, do you need your hands? You're not standing up. You're just, don't use your hands. Use your elbows. Elbows and knees. All right. You're like, okay, this looks like it has potential. Back your elbows up. And now you're like, that kind of looks like that sit back position again. Yep. Grab your pillow. I don't want you uncomfortable in your knees. So put your pillow down, even though it's not about you sitting on your feet. It's more about you being propped. So there's a leverage thing. Okay. So I'm going to call out the side that I'm doing. I'm taking my right hand. I'm going to put it around my right ear. And I'm going to take my left elbow and I'm going to tuck it right up in front. It's going to actually touch my left knee. But I realize not everybody can get themselves as compressed as I can. So if you can't get your left elbow to touch the floor and your knee, then you just move it forward a little bit. But the goal here is to take the right elbow and touch the inside of the left elbow. And then you're going to twist up. And as you twist up, the down elbow pushes firmly into the floor to help you leverage your rotation, right? Bring it down and inhale, up and exhale. And when you twist, try not to lean to that other side. You want to stay grounded as close to neutral with both hips as you can. Inhale down, exhale up. 3, you got 2 more. Inhale down, exhale up. 4, last one. Now, bring other elbow down. All right, find your position. How much do you need to build yourself up more? I'm just running the experiment, okay? Even though that's not where the pressure is. It's the pressure for most people in their knees is the closer your hips get to your feet, that's the pressure in the knee. So I want you to just know that you're leaning forward. Elbow down. Other hand. Hand is cupping the ear. Go elbow to elbow. Inhale here. And then as you start your rotation, the down arm pushes firmly into the floor to help you get your high arm raised. Inhale down. Exhale. Try not to hold your breath. You're doing 5 repetitions. Find your rhythm. Inhale down. Exhale, lift. Inhale down. This is your last one. Push. And now, if you've propped yourself up, take your pillows away. We're coming down. Okay. So with your arms extended, I'm going to, because of this mic, you guys, I'm putting a towel under my forehead. All right. If I didn't have the mic, then I would have one ear down on the floor. And this would be an alternating head turning thing. So just to get me set up, if you're watching, is why I've got my forehead on my towel. What I would like you to do is to extend your arms down by your hips with your palms down. And now turn one ear to the floor if it's not already. All right, I want you to squeeze your buns, pull your belly in, gently start lifting your head from the floor, and you're going to turn your head so you're looking straight down at the mat now. So your upper back muscles and low back muscles are hard at work. Your hands are on the floor, palms are opened, but palms are touching the floor. Turn your head the other way and bring your head to the floor. And when your head comes to the floor, let the shoulder tension relax, let the hips relax, wiggle your body a little bit from side to side. Okay, so I want you to feel yourself go through each component of activation and then relaxing. So right now you're relaxed, okay, and you're going to stop your hip rock and you're going to fill up your lungs. And then you're going to squeeze your buns, push the tops of the feet to the floor, start lifting your head from the floor, turn the head down so that you're looking at your mat, glide your shoulder blades away from your ears, squeeze your buns nice and tight, keep turning your head now the other direction and lower your ear to the floor. Relax the shoulders, relax the legs, and let your hips rock from side to side. All right, so far so good, right? Stop. Squeeze your buns, push the tops of the feet to the floor. Start peeling your torso up away from the mat. Turn your head so you're looking straight down. And this time, I want you to lift your hands from the floor. And when you lift them from the floor, try to turn your palms away from you. Keep the head up. You're turning the head. The ear comes down. The arms relax. The tension comes out of the body and you rock your hips from side to side. Stop. Squeeze. Raise the chest. Turn the head. Look down at your imaginary mirror. Pull the shoulders away from your ears, tension through the arms, and you're going to turn the hands so that the pinky edge of the hand is on the floor. And the thumbs are turning towards the ceiling, which should make it really kind of hard to get that long arm. The head goes the other way, palms rest on the floor again, the body relaxes, you're rocking your hips, you've got one more. Squeeze the buns. Lift the chest. Turn your head down. And when you turn your head down, tuck your chin a little bit so that your neck is long. Roll the shoulders away from the floor, lengthen the arms, and try to turn your thumbs up. And now, prop yourself up on your elbows. Okay, relaxing the shoulders, you're sinking and you're pushing. Shoulder protraction and retraction. Push, release, push. All right, you're like, that has a look of cobra. You're in modified cobra. And now this time up, hold the up. All right, if you're on your mat, the mat kind of just gives you this visual reference. I want you to take from your lifted position, I want you to pull your hands apart to the edge of your mat. I've got essentially my third finger lined up with the edge of my mat. And now I'm going to turn my palm down. And then I'm going to push my elbows from the floor. Oh, but my back is saying, oh, it's a little stiff. So I'm going to move the hands forward until I can get my arms fully extended and the sensation through my body that my body doesn't reject. That's the term. You can be challenged by movement that is not the same thing as your body rejecting the movement. Challenge and rejection are not the same. You'll know if it's too much. That's what I want you to think about, right? So find your zone that is the challenge, but not too much. And where are you being challenged? Is it neck and shoulders? In this position, you should be able to turn your head from side to side. But guess what? If you've not depressed your shoulders, then it makes it really hard for you to have neck mobility, okay? And now, roll the elbows in, bring them to the floor. Pull everything in nice and tight. Come up to your knees, walk the elbows back, come up to your hands, go into your cat back stretch that your body's saying, oh my goodness, why does that feel so good to do cat back after we have been in our cobra? Relax the spine, bring yourself back down, elbows down, and then hips down, and then hands moving towards the front edge and corners of the mat back into cobra, shoulders out of the ears, turn the head, release it, turn it the other way. Do you have one side that's a little bit more restricted? So not only am I turning my head, I get it so far, and then I'm going to gently draw my chin towards my shoulder. And then I release the chin tuck, turning the head. Chin draws towards the shoulder. Release the head, down on your elbows. Pull the elbows in, back yourself up, come to hands, cat back stretch. Amazing, right? And now we've just primed our body for the next thing. Here we go. So when I was doing Pilates, this was one of the moves that was what I knew my body really needed, but what my body found the hardest to do. So I'm kind of on my side, but that's not where we're going to stay. I want you to take your hand, palm down, and you've rolling to the side to allow you to get your arm down, and then you're trying to work your hands under your hips, palms down. Now, your shoulders have to be doing a certain thing in order for you to get palms down, and your hands flat to the floor, and your hip bones pushing into the forearms. Okay. Some version of this. What if you're like, you can't get your straight arms under your body? Well, that's a whole nother issue, right? So here we go. You're doing your best. Even if your hands are not under your hips, you want to try to extend the arms and lay the insides of your elbows on the floor with your fingers spread and your palms flat. And now your face, it's like your nose is touching the mat, not your chin. Okay, you ready? Give me one stiff leg. Lift the leg up, pull the shoulders out of the ears, lengthening the arms. The leg is holding, shoulder blades are out of the ears, and now release that leg, lift the other leg. Shoulders are out of the ears, squeezing 1, 2, 3, release. And now both legs lift. The nose is just gently touching the floor. Slide the shoulders out of the ears, which will put more tension through the elbows and the forearms. And now relax the body, turn the hands palms up, soften the arms so that the elbows relax, turn one ear to the floor, let your feet turn in so that your big toes touch each other and the ankles flop out. You're in rest mode. So that repetition I did with my arms out from under my body. All right. You've got one more repetition. Take your time. Pick up your head. Turn your head. You're looking down at the mat. Start adjusting your limbs. What does it take to get your arm under the body? Now, let me just say this. What if your arm stays bent, but you're like, I've got the pinky edges of my hands together, touching, the pinky edges touching, right? And now my arms are bent, but yet they're under my body. You're missing the point of the movement then. Your arm needs to be fully elongated in order for this stretch to be at its most effective. So whether you're able to get your hands under your hips or not, work on getting the arm long and straight and open hand and flat palm to the floor. And then you're going to teach yourself, how do you get your shoulders to glide out of your ears? Pull them away from your ears and then give me a stiff leg raise. 1, 2, 3, release. Other leg. 1, 2, 3, release. And now both legs. Hip bones are actively in pelvic tilt into the wrist bones, and release the arms. Roll the arms out from under you. The arms bend. Go ear to floor, which is where I need my towel. All right. Actually, I keep saying that I can't do ear to floor. You guys hold your ear to the floor. You're in relax mode. So all that means is, in relax mode, you've taken your feet and you've let the big toes turn into each other, and you've let the heels flop out, and you've let your elbows relax, and you're feeling in that face down heavy position. You should feel like your body, like you can feel yourself breathing, right? Like you're heavy through the chest on the floor. Easy does it. Work yourself up. Take your time. I want you to bring your pillow back into your equation, and I want you to think modified pretzel. So now, the modified pretzel, we're going to go ahead and sit on our pillow. There are 2 versions of this. So there's more versions than this, but the 2 versions we're going to focus on is modified pretzel is one leg straight, the other leg crosses over with a gentle pull. Okay. You just holding out here. Take your spine, sit up tall. Version number 2 is not going to be full pretzel. It's going to be something slightly different. And you just have to be prepared for the challenge that your body is going to present in just trying to get into the position. Okay, release that leg. I know that doesn't give you like real enthusiasm to go into something that I'm denoting as challenging, but it is, it's one of the stretches that I feel is the best, even when you can't initially master the full setup of it. Okay, so I already know that a pillow is going to be necessary. Okay, and I'm going to show you the front view of this. Release and relax. Okay, so here's how it starts. If you're looking at the screen, okay, just know that you're going to stride one knee forward of the other, and then the back leg is going to cross back. So now the legs are crisscrossed. And now with hand support, I'm taking my feet and I'm pulling my feet as far away from each other as I can get. And then we start rocking back. But guess what happens? I'm moving this arm to show you something. As you rock back, you're going to find that your body glides to one side. Okay. So I want you to go, how do you sit your butt down on the floor so that you're not actually sitting on your feet? You're like, that's an impossibility. Well, not so much. So once you get on your knees, you're like, okay, those little pillows that I keep using, looks like I'm going to need to keep using them. Build yourself up. You want the pillows to sit between your feet so that you do not sit on your foot. You are trying to put your fanny right between the feet. So you just keep pulling those pillows up until you feel like this. There's one leg, it's the underside leg, that you are going to have to fight a little bit to get it out and in line. Some version of this, once you're seated on some level, the foot that is closest to your bum, because one's going to be doing, the top leg is going to be doing the right thing. The bottom leg is going to be doing the wrong thing. You want to try to keep working that foot a little bit further away and then re-centering. If you will use the pillows or even your foam roller to bridge the gap, all right? You're looking for centering. And even as I say that, right, my body is compensating, right? So you just try to keep figuring it out. It compensates because of it's how tight it is. But this, I'm hoping that you're getting this because we get to do it on the other side too, okay? And now, however you want to get out of it, I personally rock forward, uncross the legs. Since you have your pillows there, right? Just get in front of the pillows, get centered in front of them, and go, okay, how hard could this be? Taking one leg, crossing it back, the feet switch, right? And start sitting yourself back down. Why are our hips so tight? It's not only the hip, it's the foot, right? Through the ankle. So on this side, I may have a little bit too much help. I'm going to take one of my pillows out. But man, keep looking at your feet, pulling that foot that's closest to your bum away. What does it take to try to square? So you'll know what hip is the heavy hip. the heavy hip goes with the underside leg. All right. So think about that. The leg that's tucked under. And your objective is to draw both buns to the floor and vertical line, which might require hand support to offload, or again, more pillow. A few more seconds here. Release, unfold. Right? So you're like, okay, we've got pigeon stretch, we've got pretzel stretch, we've got figure 4 stretch, right? This crisscross leg is just a tighter stretch. Again, what did my body naturally do? Because I know that those positions are tough on hips and knees, my hands just automatically start doing this. It's like, okay, it's like a soothing action. Okay, body, you know, we didn't break. It's okay. A few more seconds here of rubbing. We can be very impatient with ourselves. We can have such a high expectation and actually lack the patience to get into meeting our expectation. Isn't that like it's true, just in all facets? Point in case. So we're going to be on our back. I want you to think, excuse me, you're going to be side lying. We're going to be opening the book. All right. So get your head support to the degree that your neck is neutral. Pull your body up into its 90-degree bend. So that means your feet are not tucked under your bum. Your feet are in line with your knees and your knees are pulled forward. All right. Okay. So if you're using a pillow or a cushion, something other than your arm to rest on, you're just trying to get your shoulder situated so that your neck is in a neutral position. And you've got your stretching arm, turning the head, twisting onto your upper back. And the weight of that arm should be giving you your stretch. As you open and close your book, I'm going to let you set your own speed. But here's what I want you to think about. As you open the arm and it starts working to the floor, if it's the hand that's kind of reaching for the floor versus the shoulder opening up more, then you need to soften your elbow. And I want you to imagine that as the arm gets vertical, that you are grabbing hold of like this handle that's got weight on it, and you're trying to pull your elbow to the floor. And then once that body opens up a little bit more, then you can straighten the arm. Let's try it again. Close the book. Stop the arm in its rotation at the vertical line. And now your eyes, you're looking at your hand. Your hand grabs hold of an imaginary handle that's weighted. And now I want you to look at your elbow. And I want you to pull and watch your elbow come to the floor. Squeeze the shoulder blade. And you're like, well, it gets really close, but it doesn't exactly touch. That's okay. Hold it there. And then release the rotation. Close the book. Now you're going to do it again. Take it up. So as the arm is high and your hand closes onto the handle, take that shoulder. Get your shoulder out of your jaw line, because now you're using your subscapular muscles, okay? Shoulder blade, your eyes are on your elbow, you're twisting your trunk, your head is following your elbow, your shoulder blade is sliding down, the elbow touches the floor maybe, and then straighten the arm. Close the book. Do one last time. And if you're not having any complications and you just open your arm and the arm completely lays flat and your upper body squares up to the ceiling, that's what it's supposed to do. But not all of us move that smoothly. Release and relax, because that was probably 5. Push yourself up, swing to the other side. Okay, so you guys know that I just came back. We were doing scuba diving and some snorkeling. But the water conditions have to be kind of like, ideal to be scuba-ing or even snorkeling, or the visibility is really bad. So on our time away, we had so much wind that out of 7 days away, we had one near perfect day on the water where we were in the Atlantic. So you know, the the wave can't be more than a foot, right? Like it's crazy what I forget about Florida water. Open the book, pull on the handle, draw your elbow to the floor, and twist your body into its open position. So on the day we went out every day, but only one day was truly ideal. And Rich was getting the scuba gear set up, and he is unscrewing something, right? And getting ready to affix the regulator. And the thing popped out, like it pops out. We're on the boat and the boat is moving, right? So it pops out, it hits the side of the boat. It's a metal heavy object, and then it plops right into the water. Anyway, so we're on a reef, and now that means that only one tank, we can only use one regulator because we've just dropped a part off the other setup. So I tell him, I'm like, we're in 20 feet of water. I said, I'm fine snorkeling. I was like, you put the scuba gear on and you go use it. This is your last one. Hold open. Anyway, so he puts the scuba gear on. He blows through 2 tanks of air looking for this little metal part, which is like, finding a needle in a haystack. And anyway, so that was the event. Now, we ended up having to drive 50 minutes to a dive shop, come up to get an extra part so that the next day we could both dive, come to crisscrossed ankles. But when that happened, I was like, that's okay. I said, I'll just snorkel. I was like, we've got enough. We can refill the tanks. And I was like, you could dive. And I said, and I'll just snorkel. But he was so, my point in why I'm telling you this story is that on one of our stretches, I said, we have such a high expectation and we have very little patience, right? So as this parlays into my life, are you getting a nice little pull across the shoulder? This is what you're finishing with. So just settle in for a few more seconds. Is this part drops off. He's not really discouraged by not finding it because he finds a replacement part. And meanwhile, I'm telling him, though we've taken this whole trip just to come do this thing with the scuba, I'm like, it's okay. I was like, you do it. But he would not let me be discouraged or blow it off so easily that he did get it set up so that the next day we were both rigged up, and it was the most perfect circumstances that could have played out for us in the water, and I would have missed it because I was so ready to throw the towel in and just be done with it. Release and relax, inhale. So patience for your body, right, is like so relative to everything else I've just worked into your last stretch. So can you interlace your fingers, start working your shoulder blades into that retracted position, arms are long, take the knuckles, let the knuckles find the floor so that you can help your back have a better extension, right? but you're only going to be able to get your arms long at the elbows and knuckles touching if you have pulled your shoulder blades back and depressed them, and release and relax. And that, my friends, was only one of the experiences that we had in the water. As I sign off, I'm going to finish with the rest of the story.